Going.
Yeah,
We
do
are
it.
about
Do it.
to.
Just trying to work out why nothing
We
in
are
the is
live
working.
on the YouTubes.
Hello, the
Hello,
tubes.
the YouTubes.
Ah, there we go. Right, so it's just a record.
Hello, the YouTubes.
1074.
4.
Dave. Okay, that is ready to go. That is there.
That's not the correct Twitter account. So let's change that. We are going live on YouTube for the recording of the 74th episode of the Hot. We're reviewing Deep Space Nine.
9.
Saison 1.
L'espace deep de 9.
2.
1, 2, 3. My green screen is not big enough to hide my beer. Just there.
My green screen is not green enough.
Oh, I tell you what, it is good enough for though. I can put this there.
Let's tweet.
Where are we?
Ding, 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 ding. And now let's change account and retweet. And a retweet. And a retweet.
We are going live on the YouTubes. Liking and retweeting. And, other side, Podnet. I'll do that one as well. Liking and retweeting. Push. Is nice. Ah, right. And what I do not have is a beverage.
Oh, I got one.
What I do have is a lot of choice for beverage.
Oh, I don't. I have coffee or coffee.
Well, I'm about to run out of coffee.
Me too. I only have 150 pods left.
I have 3.
100?
That's 3, not 300. 3.
How can you even live like that?
Because I'm going to get some bags of coffee, and I'm going to switch to AeroPress for a short while.
Oh. Who's Diogo Constantino? I don't know, but he liked my tweet.
Oh.
I like when people like my tweet.
Hugo Constantine.
Diego
Constantine. I know who that is.
Oh, okay.
And I cannot for the life of me remember where. It might be the Ubuntu Late Night Linux collection of places.
Possibly.
Because I believe I have them on the Telegram also.
Oh my God, I've lost 1 subscriber. I had 100 yesterday. I have only 99 today. My life is ending. It's over.
On the Twitters?
On the Twitters.
Oh no, not the Twitters. How many followers do I have on Twitter? I don't think it's anywhere near as many. The profile. Oh no, okay. I have got 559 followers.
Nice.
Yes, and my whatchamacallit's gone again. My focus.
Your focus.
I think I'm going to turn my focus static
one
because
viewer, which might be you.
It probably is. I am watching. Ooh, that is
watching
awful
who?
quality. 144, 720. Gosh, there we go.
I don't think I need Steam running while we record this thing.
I am going to set my focus
I don't think I need FileZilla running what we're
there.
recording. There we go.
Yeah, that'll do. I'm in focus, aren't I?
Yes.
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 That'll do.
Oh, use saved version.
Oh, yeah, because I started to type a command and my terminal wasn't in focus. So Nextcloud got it. Good job it wasn't a password.
Yeah, because none of us did that any time anyway.
No, in the same way that none of us have ever
Lost an episode.
deleted a show before.
No, those things never happen.
Nope.
And when they do, well, they don't.
We just deny them.
Yes, exactly.
And deny they ever existed.
Yes.
N'existait pas.
Non. Ce ne sont pas les droïdes que vous recherchez.
These are not something that you're looking for?
These are not the droids you're looking for.
The droid.
with the hand gesture.
What's the French for droid?
Droid.
Droid. Droid.
Droid.
Le droid. Beaucoup de droid.
Ouch, ouch, ouch. I have lost. Can you hear me now?
Oui. Je suis ici.
You hear me now?
Yes.
But my audio crashed, so.
Oof.
But it's back.
Et très bon.
But there's a lag now between the audio. So let me.
Yes, I noticed that.
Hello back?
That's better.
Oh, yes.
Much better.
Much better.
Have you noticed my Enterprise A is currently phasing?
Floating and phasing, yes.
Yes. It's caught in a temporal flux. Or something. Do you remember how to do this? It's been a while.
Yeah, that's exactly what I just tweeted. Asking you if you remember how to do this.
What? Is that what you tweeted earlier? Because I just retweeted it.
You retweeted what I okay.
Oh, unless you retweet. You tweet something.
I posted and I retweeted my post asking you.
Do you remember how we do? Oh, right. Do what? Exactly.
Yes.
Is nice. Right.
Right.
Recording. No. Record.
Yes.
What?
What?
Stop being. Thank you. Right.
Stop being
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
In the butt.
I is recording. And I'm not recording you.
We have discovered that we can ask the lady in the ball right here to make the sound of a shark. Do you know what sound a shark makes?
Is it do?
No. Alexa, monte le son à 75%. Alexa, fais un bruit de requin.
Voici un son de requin. Et si on faisait un autre animal?
Non.
Ok. Tu peux essayer de dire dauphin.
Shut up.
Okidoki.
Okidoki.
Alexa, baisse le son à 50%. Oh my god.
Glass.
Yes.
Oh dear.
Zoe didn't understand. She didn't understand the reference. But right. What are we doing here? Oh yes, recording.
Okie dokie. Right. You'll have to reload the thingy because I've just made a change at the end.
Yes. And you're gonna make some more changes when we get the times.
That's you.
Oh, yes, that's me.
Mm. Come on, don't start reneging on your jobs now.
Okay, are you ready?
Oui.
3, 2, 1, engage.
Engage. 1 minute and 54 seconds.
1 minute and 59 for me.
Nice.
Nice. And I will need a show title, please.
Emissary, Part 2.
Awesome. 2, 8, 16, 17, 16, 15. 2 hours. Oh, wow. Oh, 2 hours and 15 minutes. No. All right, you're going to need to reload the page.
Yeah, I'm trying to. And it's not particularly being helpful. I broke it.
What? What did you break? Did you break my next cloud again?
No, I didn't. It has worked. Right, are we ready?
Yep.
Oh, perfect timing. Come on.
Yeah, so I wanted to say goodnight to
Come here.
Yannick.
Hang on.
Hello.
There you go.
Hello, Alex.
Hello, Yannick.
How are you?
I wanted to say hi to you.
Hi. Are you going to bed?
Yes.
Yes. So good night then.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Is that Yannick saying goodbye to you? Or hello? Don't spit on the microphone.
It feels weird. I hear it.
You are weird.
Yes, you can hear me, of course. You've got the headphones on your head.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why you
Anyway.
got them on your head.
A member of my family who knows they have to actually speak into a microphone.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. That's good. That's
Are we
1 out of.
actually
Five.
live?
Yes,
We
you
are live
on...
to YouTube, yes.
Does
You
everybody
see up there,
me?
it says live. Everybody on YouTube watching us now, right now, which is a grand total of
1.
me, because that is the
You.
only YouTube that's currently connected.
Few.
Yes.
But
We'll see me.
anybody with the address can play it back,
Mhm.
and they will see you in your semi-nakedness. You want to be looking at that one, love. That's the current one. Right, you're going to boggle so I can do this recording.
No.
It is past
Okay.
your bedtime. 15. It's 8:15.
I
It is
didn't know
15
that.
minutes.
I
15
didn't know
minutes
that.
past your bedtime.
It's fine.
Says
Jeez.
who?
Says me.
Right.
Young man, you
Not
need to go
says
to bed
me.
now.
Right, come on.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Pooh.
How rude. I won't tell you what that word means in French.
Oh. He's so cute.
Right. It's good we got that out the way now. Although it'll
Half
probably
a second
be back.
before you started.
Yeah.
Blah.
Yeah. Just because I heard the thudding, the inevitable drawing on of thuds, thinking, I wonder who that is. Alex. Right, here we go. Hello and welcome to episode 74 of Tea Earl Grey Hot, an unofficial Star Trek fan podcast from the Other Side Podcast Network. My name is Dave and I am joined this week, this fortnight really, by somebody who definitely exists here. It's my good friend Yannick. Hi Yannick, how are
Hi,
you?
Dave. I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm doing all right.
Cool.
Just trying to remember how to do this because we've
Yes.
not been recording for a short while, and that's actually something I wanted to mention before we carry on. Is that, dear listeners, by the time you get to this point in the episode, you'll realise two things. Firstly, we are absolutely terrible at turning these episodes around in a timely fashion. Yannick's nodding. By the time we've finished recording this, we'll actually have 4 episodes outstanding to produce between us.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing is that as a direct result of the first thing, we decided that while we're not reviewing new episodes like Picard, Discovery, Strange New Worlds, etc., we're going to record these episodes fortnightly rather than weekly. It's partially to give us an opportunity to catch up, but also an opportunity to give us a little bit of a rest, because time is a precious commodity that we do not have much of.
Yeah.
I could quote Dr. I've forgotten his name now, Dr. Soren's line from Generations, but I've forgotten it for the moment. But yeah, it may be temporary. We don't know. I mean, never say never, but this is how it's going to be for now, at least.
Yeah, we've done that for 73 weeks in a row. So
pretty much.
We didn't. We might have had a week or two.
I think we took a couple of weeks off, yeah, and that was about it.
Pretty much 73 weeks in a row, yeah. So we're not going to stop, but we're going to take some breathings between
we are
each episode.
Definitely not going to stop.
Oh no!
Because I, for one, love doing these.
Yeah, me
been
too.
looking forward to this.
Mm-hmm.
So yes.
So we had 14 years of review before that. So we're now 28 years or something.
Well, it'll be less. Oh no, yeah. It was 14 years based on what had already been produced. Yeah. So yes, it will be 28 years plus whatever else comes on in the meantime.
So you're not gonna you're not gonna get rid of us that easily.
Will podcasting still be around in 28 years?
Yeah, well, maybe we will be podcasting over subspace or something. Maybe to call that, I don't know, a subspace cast or something.
But then it'll take even longer for us to produce the episodes, because it'll take that long to travel over there.
Figure something out. If you're on Deep Space Nine and I'm on some weird planet somewhere at the other side of the galaxy, we're gonna have to sync. That's gonna be a hell of a lag.
It's gonna take ages. Oh dear. Anyway, on this week's episode, we're going to be reviewing Star Trek Deep Space Nine Season 1, Episode 2, which is the continuation of the feature-length pilot episode Emissary.
Yes, it's Part 2, which is the continuation of Part 1.
Well, yes. It's funny how these things work. You say that, but that hope is you.
Yes.
Which was a continuation, but it was like 10 episodes, 12 episodes apart.
But back then, they knew how to do things.
Well, exactly. Although Netflix is confusing things by considering both of these as one episode rather than the 2 episodes they should have been. But anyway, not going to get into that now. So, if you are ready, Yannick, we shall crack on with part 2 of Emissary. Boom. Cheers. I would have a coffee, but I've got none left. So, at the end of last week's episode, at the end of Act 4, we had just seen Sisko, Kira, Quark, and others tricking the Cardassians into believing. Can't read my own notes. I wrote this bit and I can't read it. Tricking the Cardassians into leaving a game that they were playing in Quark's bar, and then transferring their winnings into a bag, which then later turned out to be a shape-shifted Odo. By transferring back to the Cardassian ship, Odo was able to sabotage the ship to prevent them from following Sisko and Dax, who had just left for the Denorius belt in a runabout in order to locate the other Bajorian orbs, one of which had been gifted to Sisko by Kai Opaka, Bajor's spiritual leader, as she believed it was his destiny to find the origin of the orbs, the celestial temple of the prophets.
Yeah. That's where we were.
I just realised the entirety of that was 2 sentences. Wow.
So yeah, there's no teaser this week, given that
no teaser. Well, that was kind of it.
Yeah.
The teaser for me was watching the last 2 minutes of Act 4.
Yeah, I was for some weird reason, the Netflix didn't remember where I was in the episode, so I had to fast forward the first 45 minutes in like, I don't know, 3 minutes or something. That was funny.
Oh, that's unusual.
Yeah, I don't know why. Maybe I watched because I watched it tonight on my Fire TV, so maybe it didn't remember. I don't know.
Not sure. Anyway, so on to Act 5. The coast is now clear for Cisco and Dax to embark towards the Denarios belt, the coordinates of the focal point of the Bajoran orbs. As Dax steers the vessel towards high proton counts and the external wave intensifies. Okay. As Dax steers the vessel towards high proton counts and the external wave intensifies, while internal wave oh my goodness me. I didn't write this.
I think that's
So there should be intensity.
Yes.
Take 3. Sorry, no one's watching. As Dax steers the vessel towards high proton counts and the external wave intensifies, while internal wave intensity remains unaffected, a wormhole suddenly opens directly in front of them. They're pulled into it as DS9 loses contact with them, picking up only major subspace disruptions. The Rio Grande emerges in the Gamma Quadrant some 70,000 light-years from its previous location. Cisco suspects that the wormhole is the source of the Bajoran orbs and realizes that they have discovered the first stable wormhole known to exist, so they turn around and attempt to return to the Alpha Quadrant.
Yeah, I understand that, he wants to go back, but what makes him think that the entrance of the wormhole of the way back is at the same place? I mean, they just encountered something that they never knew before. So I thought it was a little bit, shortcutted.
Now that you've said it, I agree with you, but he had just established for himself that it was a stable wormhole.
Yeah.
So he probably believed that it was a single start destination of each of the a single start and destination of the wormhole. So logically speaking, you turn around and go back, you'll end up where you started.
Yeah.
How realistic that is, I don't know.
I don't know. We need to ask our resident astronomer.
We do, indeed. I don't know how far his expertise stretches into wormholes.
As long as he speaks with confidence, I would believe him.
Well, the last time we asked him a question, I was incredibly disappointed by the answer.
Yes.
Which was, what was the question about?
The duration of the day in...
Oh, how the day would increase in size because of the slowing down of the Earth's rotation, and it was like 23 milliseconds or something stupid. Yeah. So in that scene, then I have to ask a question, which is: did one of the scriptwriters get a pay rise?
Oh, why?
Because Dax said, and I'm not making this up; these are the actual words she said. I'm modifying the flight program to compensate for the spatial discontinuities.
Yes, that's a lot of...
And I'm like,
words.
What did you just say?
Yeah. Technobabble.
Technobabble, yes. Somebody bought a new thesaurus.
Yeah. Spatial discontinuities. Why not? Why not?
I can think of many reasons, but no.
No, okay.
However, the Rio Grande loses power and velocity whilst in the wormhole. They land on a planet with a breathable atmosphere. To Cisco, it appears to be a barren wasteland, raging with electrical storms. To Dax, however, the planet appears beautiful, like an idyllic garden setting. That setting that Dax was seeing reminded me a little bit of what I call the Windows XP setting, which was where Yar's Memorial was on the holodeck on
Yes.
Enterprise.
Yes. Yeah, I can see the Windows XP backdrop, default backdrop. Yes. Indeed, yes.
I wonder if they reused the set.
That's entirely possible.
Yeah.
Given that, oh, no, they would have reused the set. Huh. That was 4 years after yours.
This is
Departure? This is end of
for
season 5.
yes.
This is beginning of season 6 of next year.
Yeah, that's right.
So that would be fine.
So
It's
four and a half
possible.
seasons.
It's
Seasons.
possible. It is. Everything is possible.
Hmm. A hovering orb appears and scans their bodies. It engulfs Dax and takes her through the wormhole safely, and she rematerializes in Ops on DS9. Cisco, however, is transported from the imaginary planet to the Celestial Temple, where he begins another vision, this one being his first communication with the prophets of the Celestial Temple.
Yeah. So when Dax came back, Kira said something that pleased me. When when the thing came back, she said the first thing she said, I think, was to secure hubs. So basically, I think, raise some kind of shield to prevent anyone from transporting in, which is the first time we've heard that. Well, obviously the technology or the procedure was lost because Discovery. Oh no, Discovery was before that.
Well before, yeah.
But yeah. So yeah, I remembered everything we said every time someone beams inside a spaceship or something, and I thought, she's going to secure hubs. So,
but if they had that feature and functionality now, wouldn't it have made sense to have it switched on all the time and just switch it off when they're expecting somebody to be arriving? I mean, admittedly, that wouldn't have helped Dax because she wouldn't have got back on the
yeah. Maybe that uses energy
on the station,
or something, or maybe it's just a Kardashian technology or something.
I keep forgetting this.
Yeah,
I keep forgetting that it's a Kardashian station. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did think there was something odd about the scene that we were seeing with Dax on the in the Windows XP thing, because it looked like she wasn't actually there. It looked like she was being projected there on top of a false background, kind of like my one. But then when it kind of faded and wavered, and she was suddenly back on the barren wasteland temporarily, I realised that she was, and I was a little bit disappointed. It's a bit of a shame they weren't actually in that, idyllic setting.
No, they were not. Also, did you notice when the orb passed between Cisco and Dax, so they were looking backwards, and then they were looking towards the camera? That didn't look very natural. Okay, I understand there was no orb floating there, but the way they moved their head, that didn't seem very natural. But yet again, that's the first episode of the first season, so they need to find their marks.
Right, exactly. And my observation for this episode, which is kind of repeated from the last one, kind of says the same thing.
Yeah.
The prophets are non-corporeal entities, appearing to Cisco as people in his life, his late wife Jennifer, Picard, the Kai, and Jake. They seek contact with other life forms, but do not consider him worthy, since he is corporeal and relies on crude linguistics for communication. As he tries to defend himself and his species, Cisco seeks to develop some form of communication protocols with them. Now, I found it really interesting that when he was talking to the prophet that was Jake, that they were perfectly capable of speaking in the same language as Cisco was, but they didn't understand time, didn't understand linear time. And this is a repeated thing further down further through the episode. And I wrote this note before I looked at the production notes for the episode on Memory Alpha. And apparently, this is one of the biggest observations from fans of this particular 2-part episode is how could the alien, we don't know who they are, the celestial prophets, not understand the concept of linear time and yet be able to communicate in a linear space.
That's absolutely true. Yeah. That's always the same problem when you're mixing linear entities and entities that exist at any time and any point in space at the same time. That cannot happen.
No, not at all.
But I thought it was a nice. They did that in a nice way. Jumping from scene to scene, well, context to context, as to to mix all the places and all the characters. It kind of gave us the notion of this non-linear thing, that they were actually everywhere at the same place, but you just can't do that because, well, we viewers are also linear entities, so
right,
they had to find something. And I thought it was kind of nice, having jumping from place to place and character to character. I thought it was well made.
Oh, absolutely. I think it was really, really good. I mean, some of the visual effects maybe needed a bit of work, but again, as you quite rightly said, episode 1, or episode 2,
1992.
Yes. Yes.
Remember that. I mean, it's 5 years after the first episode of Picard, and I thought the special effects were better in this one than they were on Ankutar at Farpoint.
It's very interesting you should say that. Because apparently the inspiration for Emissary was Encounter at Farpoint.
Yeah. Well, I have no doubt about that. It's kind of the same theme. Picard had to defend humanity in Q's trial.
Mm-hmm.
Here, Cisco doesn't have to defend humanity. He has to explain, which is kind of the same,
Essentially. Well, Picard had to try and explain humanity to Q as well. Yeah. So it is the same thing. Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Once Kira realizes what Cisco and Dax have discovered, she recognizes its tremendous importance and orders that the entire DS9 space station to be moved to the mouth of the newly found wormhole. With only 6...
That's gonna be easy.
I didn't even think they were going to do that. I wasn't even sure they had that ability to move.
Yeah. Well, me neither. The first time.
Yeah. With only 6 functional maneuvering thrusters, O'Brien states that it would take 2 months to cross the 116 million kilometers to the wormhole. Kira replies,
for a space station. 160 million kilometers in 2 months. That's not bad.
That's incredibly good.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm pretty certain even the fastest vehicles on the Earth couldn't do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's interesting though they measure it in kilometers.
Yeah. Why would what unit would you have seen here instead of the kilometers? It's too short for a light year, so.
I suppose. But they usually measure things in terms of
parsec.
Well, isn't parsecs a measure of acceleration?
Again, we have to ask Andrew or our friend Google. What is a parsec?
I think parsec is an exponential measure of acceleration. It's not linear.
No, it's a distance.
Oh, is that okay?
It's 3.26 light years.
Oh. Okay, so that's even less appropriate for this.
Yes, absolutely.
Kira replies that it has to be done by the next day, stating that the Bajorans have to stake a claim to the wormhole. Then, in an apparent change of attitude, notes that the Federation's presence would strengthen that claim. Dax suggests they lower the inertial mass of the station with the deflector array. O'Brien begins to work on this. Dax contacts Starfleet for assistance. The nearest starship is, unsurprisingly, Enterprise, which is 2 days away. Kira, Dax, and Dr. Bashir decide to set out toward the wormhole in another runabout, the USS Yangtze Kiang, to rescue Sisko. Odo insists on joining their expedition, citing his own discovery in the Dolores Belt and how his origins may be related to the wormhole phenomenon.
Yes. So, how can the Enterprise be 2 days away when it was docked at Deep Space Nine few hours, maybe a day ago, at the beginning of the episode?
Again, we don't really have an understanding of how much time has passed. I would think that had Enterprise been traveling away, and it probably wouldn't have been at maximum warp purely because it may not have had an urgency of getting to where it wanted to, so they probably would have done it at warp 3, warp 4, warp 5 maybe. So assume they were at warp 5, if they had to try and get back using warp 9, that would be roughly half the time. Like it's a sliding scale, isn't it? It'd be more than less than half the time to get back at full speed. Yeah. So on that basis, they either left at maximum warp, or it's been a week since they left.
Yeah, I don't think that it's been a week, but I don't know. It's one of those mysteries.
I've just had a revelation.
Ooh.
And you will need to seek a new co-host after this one. But it's just occurred to me that details like this don't actually matter.
No, they don't. But it just, I had to ask the question.
No, you absolutely did. But I spend a lot of my time picking holes in this kind of detail. I know you have done too, to an extent. But am I being too picky, perhaps? No. Okay, good. I'm glad you said that. We shall continue.
Yes. So Kira said, O'Brien said it's going to be done in 2 months, and Kira said it has to be done by tomorrow. I mean, even Scotty and Kirk never had that conversation.
No, Scotty would tend to multiply by 4.
Yeah, something like that.
But no, this is 2 months, 60 days within a day. No.
2-1,
no. Although actually, I think the review's wrong. I think she actually said they need it done within 2 days.
Yeah, maybe 1 or 2, whatever. It's still not possible. Fortunately, they managed to use this field generator thingy to lighten the station, so they're all good.
Yeah, eventually. Well, we're about to go on to that bit now.
Yep.
So we are on to Act 6.
Cool.
We don't often say that.
Nope.
Back inside the wormhole, Sisko communicates with some non-corporeal aliens who take the form of several people he knows. Jake, again, Picard, Locutus of Borg, Kaya Parker, Jennifer, and the crew of the Saratoga, amongst others. The aliens discuss destroying the intruder. While Sisko insists that he was sent by the Bajorans. In order to prove he means no harm, he offers to allow the aliens to share in his experiences and his past. However, it turns out the wormhole aliens have no concept of linear time. They refuse the idea that the past, present, and future are in any way different from one another.
Yeah, that I can't say that I can imagine what it would be, but I can yeah imagine that if there was such a creature, that he would have a hard time understanding our linear nature, the same way we would have a hard time understanding their omni
Omnitemperance?
omnitemporal.
Omnitemporal, yes.
Yes,
I suppose
something
that
like
would be the word
nature.
if it existed.
Omnitemporal existence.
They might just be all traveling at warp 10 constantly.
Yeah, and turning into slugs.
And, well, they can turn into whatever they like.
Yeah, sure.
Meh. As Sisko and the wormhole aliens try to understand one another, O'Brien and the crew attempt to find a way to safely move DS9 to the mouth of the wormhole. But the Cardassian computer is less than cooperative, to the point where it refuses to cooperate with some of his requests. With great difficulty, O'Brien manages to move DS9. However, Ducat has become aware of the wormhole's presence.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Surprise.
So I think we just have a quick nosy forward. Yes, no. This is one of my two quote of the weeks. Right, excuse me, man. I'm just going to shut the door. See, when I can hear my family through my headphones, I know you can. So yes, one of my two quotes of the week appeared in that little scene, and it was the bit where O'Brien was talking to the computer, and he said "computer," and the computer went. Beep. He said, "You and I need to have a little talk."
Yes.
And I half expected the computer to respond with, "That action is not recommended."
Yes.
As that seemed to be the standard answer.
Yeah.
But yes, the Cardassian computer is with attitude.
Yes, it does not what it wants, but somewhat, sort of.
Or it doesn't want to do what O'Brien wants.
Yes, it does what it's told to do, but reluctantly.
Suspecting Sisko of already striking a deal with whomever in the wormhole, Gul Dukat races towards the wormhole himself. His Cardassian vessel, easily outpacing Kira and the runabout, proceeds through the wormhole. Yup, indeed.
So that wormhole opens and closes when people come close to it. It's not easy to find it. They should put signs like wormhole this way.
Yes, in case you happen upon it accidentally and just get eaten up by it.
Yeah. Give way, wormhole, mind the wormhole.
But you're quite right. It's very similar to a starship door. Mm-hmm. You walk up to it, it goes, and you walk through and you go to close it again. But yeah, as you point out,
the bloody door are still making noise.
Yes.
Well, that could be viewed as a security feature. When a door opens, you can hear it, and so you expect someone to come in, or you're walking in a corridor and then you hear a door, and so you look to see if someone's coming out.
Oh, a security feature for the person not walking towards it.
Yes.
Ah, yes, that makes sense.
It's like those electric car where they add the false engine noise.
Engine noise, yeah.
So that the pedestrian can hear them.
Basically. Give me 1 second, because I'm actually struggling to hear you.
Ooh. Why is that?
I don't know. All my volumes are at full.
Am I too low? No, I don't think I'm.
I don't think you're too low necessarily. It's just that I seem to be really loud for some reason. Although my recordings, at a decent level.
Yeah, mine too.
Well,
maybe I can boost a little bit.
Volume levels. Everything's
check.
at
1,
full.
2.
Output device.
Bonjour et bienvenue.
I'm not sure if I can turn myself down. Chromium is at full.
Dear viewers, do we have any viewers? No, we don't.
No.
And you know what? That's perfectly fine.
How's that? Ah. Now. There we go.
There we go.
I've cranked my volume up beyond 100%, and it hasn't affected my volume, but it has affected yours. That's much better. Much better. Harky darkies. Right, where were we? There we are. Meanwhile, Cisco is showing the aliens a moment in his past when he and Jennifer were sharing a picnic. The aliens mention that Jennifer is a part of Cisco's existence, but Cisco tells them that while she was a very important... That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, I know.
But Cisco tells them that while she was a very important part, she is not anymore, as she is no longer alive. He lost her. The aliens are now very confused, unable to understand what lost means. Cisco tells them that when in linear time, people are unable to go back to the past. When something is lost, it is gone forever. The aliens cannot understand how any species could possibly survive in this manner.
Yeah. Again, the concept of linear time must be very strange for them. I understand that.
I get it. But I think they're getting to the point now where they're starting to possibly over milk this particular argument, because this isn't the only time that linear time is mentioned. It was mentioned in the past, ironically. But during this whole vision scene, the whole question of what is linear time, how I don't understand it, giving examples, I don't understand it, give another example, don't understand it. I don't know. I think they did it a couple of times too many.
Possibly, yes.
But at the same time, I kind of get that if you have a being that doesn't understand it, the only way you can understand it is by giving them multiple different examples.
Mm-hmm.
So I suppose it wasn't meant for me, was it? Because I understand linear time.
Yes.
Well, to an extent.
Yeah, to some extent, yeah.
To some extent, yes. Cisco goes on to explain that this day is important as it affected everyone that followed. It is the day he and Jennifer decided to have a child. As the two echoes, probably need to explain that actually.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave that out because it doesn't really add to it.
Yeah.
Suddenly, Cisco finds himself back aboard the Saratoga, standing over his wife's body. The aliens explain this is his existence. Cisco tells them that this memory is more difficult than any of the others because this is the day he lost Jennifer. The aliens don't accept this, and they ask Cisco why he exists here. Cisco does. Cisco doesn't understand what they're asking, but they insist that he exists here.
Yeah, I didn't understand it either.
No,
at that moment.
I was
clear later on.
It does. It becomes very clear later on, and actually, in hindsight, now I understand what's going on. Once they explain, well, he works it out for himself, doesn't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
But at this point, I was thinking, are they asking why he is with them? Why has he gone through the wormhole? Why is he on their planet? Because that's where he is. That's where he exists. But quite rightly, as you say, we find out later on that's exactly what it doesn't mean.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly, everything stops. Gul Dukat's ship is traveling through the wormhole and emerges in the Gamma Quadrant. Quadrant. Yes.
Quadrant.
And emerges in the Gamma Quadrant. In anger, the aliens seal the wormhole, preventing the Yangtze Kiang from following.
Bum, bum,
Bum, bum, bum, indeed.
Yeah. So they close the door and they say, nope, sorry, you can't go there.
Yes, press the big red lock button. You are not
that's
coming through.
The one where with the label, do not press the red button.
Do not. Yes. Yeah, exactly that. Exactly that. So that moves us on to Act 7. The aliens explain to Cisco that whenever someone travels through the wormhole, their existence is disrupted. Therefore, they have closed it. They say that Cisco's linear nature makes him naturally destructive and that he doesn't understand the consequences of his actions, a charge that Cisco denies. He tells them that he is aware that every choice he makes will have a consequence, even if he doesn't know what it is. To help, he uses past experiences to guide him. For example, he cites the day that he met Jennifer on the beach and how their past experiences helped them realize they had a future together. And when they got married, they accepted any of the consequences that would come from that act, including the birth of their son.
I don't know how I feel about, qualifying the birth of a child as a consequence. Consequence is usually something that happens on its own, not willingly. It's I think a child is not a consequence. It's something that is conceived. It's a I don't know. I just felt it just felt strange to name that a consequence.
I know exactly what you're saying. I understand what it is you're trying to convey here, but I tend to disagree.
Okay.
Because if they had determined between them that a consequence or a natural progression of them being together would be they would have a child, then that would be a consequence of them getting together. Had they not got together, they wouldn't have had a child.
Yeah.
They're almost accepting it as an inevitability.
Yeah, but that's the thing, it's like, okay, we decided to get together and have a child, but yeah. Okay.
I don't think that's what they mean, but yeah, I understand where you're coming from.
I don't think that's what he meant, but that's one of the interpretations.
But I suppose when you're trying to convey that, he is essentially talking to children, people that don't understand life experiences, don't understand the human condition. So he has to try and explain things in the basest terms that he can.
Yes.
They seem, I don't know whether they comprehended what he was saying, but they understood the words of what he was saying.
True.
Well, in fact, the next line says exactly that. The aliens are starting to understand, but they still need help. So Cisco decides to use the game of baseball as an example. He tells the aliens that when he throws the baseball, anything could happen. The batter could swing and miss, or he might hit the ball perfectly. A person prepares for every consequence as they happen, and as a result, the game will start to take shape, even though no one knows what the outcome will be. Now the aliens start to get it, But now they can't understand why Sisko values his ignorance of the future. Sisko tells the aliens that the unknown is what drives his species, that they are always exploring and looking to the future to expand the boundaries of their knowledge. He explains he isn't there to conquer them, but to coexist and share their knowledge.
Yeah, I thought the use of the baseball to explain linear consequences was great.
Mm.
It was and it was a great explanation. Although it was funny when it was not Jake, it was one of the prophets, but asked, what was baseball, what were the rules, and he said, "Oh, I was expecting you you were not going to ask that because rules of baseball are so complex."
It's a good job they weren't playing cricket then, because nobody
Yeah.
understands the rules of cricket.
Well, Cisco said it himself. He said the rules are not important.
No, they're not. They're not important at all. You pick those up as you go along, which I suppose is yet another example of how linear time operates.
Yeah.
But then the question was asked again. The aliens said, if all of this is true, why do you exist here?
Yeah.
And I'm even more confused as to what it is they're
Yes.
talking about.
I think that was the point, actually.
Yeah. So I think the idea here is that Sisko thought that he was educating the aliens to his way of life. Whereas I think what was happening was actually the reverse.
Mm-hmm.
The aliens were trying to understand. They weren't trying to understand what humans knew and how they viewed things and how they dealt with, unheard of concepts like linear time. They were trying to actually understand what was going on inside his head.
Yes.
Why they were trying to do that, I'm not entirely sure.
No.
But when we get to the end of this and we find out exactly why they're asking the question, why do you exist here? It becomes very, very clear. What I don't understand is what's driving the prophets, the aliens, to try and get that information out of him, trying to get that revelation of his purpose and why he is existing here out of him. That's not clear to me.
Okay.
It makes for a good story, don't get me wrong.
Yes, indeed. Well, there might be a beginning of an explanation in one of the sentences that we heard last week, and we will hear soon, or maybe it's gone yet, but it's a phrase that was said last in the first part, and that is said again in the second part. So I'm gonna come to that after the revelation.
Okay. Oh, put a pin in that one, and we'll. Sorry for the coughing. I've had a bit of a choking session earlier on today. I've not quite recovered from it. Sisko is once again on the Saratoga, looking at his wife's body under the debris, confused why the aliens keep returning him to this point. So, obviously here, they're in his memories. They're in his inner being. This is obviously the one thing that triggers him above all others. Mm-hmm. And yeah, as I kind of mentioned earlier on, I suppose that once they understand this scene, well, this is what I wrote down at the time, that once they understand this particular scene and the meaning of the impact of personal loss, perhaps they'll stop asking the question. But perhaps. From what we've discussed so far, this is absolutely wrong. Yeah. It's not about them. This is about him. Mm-hmm. But we still don't know why.
That pretty soon.
Mm. In light of Ducat's disappearance, the station is soon approached by 3 Cardassian warships which take a threatening posture. Gul Jassard demands to know the location of Ducat's vessel. He refuses to believe Kira's wormhole explanation, since there is no sensory evidence of such. Well, there wouldn't be.
No.
If something that was is now not, there's no evidence of it, surely.
Well, it depends. I mean, if you watch CSI, they can find evidence of things that were and are not anymore. You know, but there's no CSI Star Trek.
Where is Grissom when you need him?
It's yeah.
Jasad allows Kira 1 hour to prepare for surrender, but with the Enterprise still 20 hours away, Kira knows that surrender is not a viable option.
No, indeed not.
Da-da-da-da.
I just thought that CSI could be, criminal Star Trek investigation, but no. Yeah. So
Yeah.
the Enterprise is still 20 hours away. So it was 2 days away. Like what? A few hours ago.
Seemingly, yes.
Not even. So they traveled. What the equivalent of 1 day and a few hours in a few minutes. So
yeah, it just doesn't make sense.
Doesn't add up, no.
But
we don't care.
No, we don't care. We don't care. We decided we don't care anymore. No, that's not what I meant. How? I'm sorry, I'm going to do it again. How do they know Enterprise is 20 hours away?
Yeah, that's a great question.
If Enterprise is traveling at warp speed, surely they would arrive at DS9 quicker than it would take for a beacon, some kind of ping, to be sent out from the station, bounce off of Enterprise, and come back again.
True. Unless they have subspace relays or stuff like that.
Yeah, but does subspace operate at multiple times the speed of light?
Don't know. Maybe they send the text. No. 1-800 Deep Space Nine. No idea.
Yeah, well, that number's too long, but
yes.
Yeah.
Let's take this opportunity to say hello to Peter in our YouTube chat room.
Hello, Peter.
Welcome.
Yes, a first-time watcher.
Yes,
which is great.
Yes,
possibly not a first-time listener. I think he has listened to some episodes, but first-time watching us live. So welcome.
He's gonna be privy of all our mistakes and our poor quality recordings.
Well, I mean,
only blood, sweat, and tear turn into a decent podcast.
Well, if we behave from this point onwards,
yes,
then he'll think that this is what we do. This is exactly how it works. So please, now. Peter, do not rewind the past hour and watch again, because illusion gone. Boom.
Yep. Boom.
Oh dear. Anyway, it would seem that by good fortune and a following wind, we are now at Act 8, the final act of this feature-length episode. Don't worry, though. I've got lots to say afterwards. Inside the wormhole, Sisko demands to know why the aliens keep bringing him back here to the Saratoga. But the aliens tell him that they're not bringing him here. He is taking them there. Sisko asks for the power to take them somewhere else. The aliens tell him he already has the power, but he is denying it himself. No. But he's denying himself it, and should look inside himself for the answer. Sisko then looks back and sees himself from 3 years earlier, desperate to free his wife, despite the knowledge that she was dead. Sisko notes that he was ready to die with her.
And that's the sentence that was said last week, but not last week, but in part 1, when Kaiopaka closed the orb thing, and she said, "We cannot provide you with what you deny to yourself. You have to look for the answers within."
Right. Exactly that. Exactly so this is kind of a continuity from that.
Mm-hmm.
And did he not say something similar to that when we first saw the scene aboard the Saratoga at the beginning of the first part, where it was absolutely clear he had no intention of getting off the ship before it blew
I
up.
don't remember.
Something I recall, that's all.
Maybe.
I could be wrong. It has been known. Sisko is clearly in pain at recalling the most horrific of his memories, and the aliens sense this and try to comfort him. As he sees his past self dragged away, he realizes inside that he never completely left the Saratoga. As he looks down at his wife and through his tears, he tells the aliens that the moment he looked down at Jennifer's dead body has always been in his mind. He sees the same image when he's in darkness or when he closes his eyes. The aliens realize that none of Sisko's past experiences helped prepare him for this consequence, and Sisko confesses he has never been able to get over losing her, and that inside he does still exist here. But finally, Sisko realizes that Jennifer is really gone, and he has to let her go forever. He grieves properly this time, letting go of his emotions, but finally starts to leave the trauma of his wife's death behind him.
Ta-da!
And that was it.
Yeah.
That was absolutely it. That was the eureka moment.
Yes, and that's when we understand why they keep asking why he lives here.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Now, I found that scene actually quite powerful, quite emotional.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that the acting was quite abysmal.
Yeah.
Actually,
I
you know, I don't wish to speak ill of, I've forgotten his name now, the actor that plays Avery Brooks. Thank you. I don't wish to speak ill of him, but I do seem to recall when we first started reviewing season 1 of Next Generation, we said pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
That the acting was fairly wooden, and it just didn't seem to flow particularly well. That's all changed. We know this, and I am fully confident that it's going to happen the same within DS9 through the beginning, through the season 1. But as I say, emotionally, that was a really, really powerful scene.
Yeah, I agree. With the the revelation to why they were asking that, plus everything what Cisco said, and the fact that he was actually grieving properly and stuff like that, and yeah, it was very, very strong scene, and a very important one for the character.
Oh, completely. Oh, this is like his origin story.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we need to know who Benjamin Sisko is before we can start to relate to him as a person, and as he is going to be one of the most important characters in DS9 throughout its entirety, we need to know him.
Mm-hmm.
It's critical we know him.
Agreed.
I'm curious as to whether the scriptwriters actually knew what they were doing when they set this whole thing in motion, because something you said just now, the way they've set it up and they've presented it to us, we're asking the question, why are they asking the same questions? Why are they asking the same questions? Why are they asking him why he exists here? We're turning this over in our heads multiple times because we're being presented with it multiple times. It's frustrating us. It's getting us to the point where we're starting to get really quite agitated and irritated by not understanding the answer to this question. But then when this revelation occurs, it's not like we are given the answer. As viewers, we are given the information to allow us to figure out the answer for ourselves.
Yes.
And this is where the moment of revelation, the eureka moment, is not Sisko's, it's ours as well.
Oh, that was the...
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that I think is what made that final scene really powerful, because it's kind of a oh moment.
Yes. And yeah, I think, yeah, I'm sure it was on purpose. Yes. Yeah.
Well, if it was, then I am incredibly impressed.
The writers for DS9 are very good. As you will see, the stories are pretty much all good.
Well, the
That's-
writing team for DS9 were the same as
I
TNG,
think
I believe.
so. I don't think so. I think
Is it Michael Piller and Rick Berman?
but that's
were-
only the head of the team. But the team does like 3 or 4.
Oh, I see. Yes. So
writers.
yeah. So if you're talking about the entire team,
Yeah,
absolutely.
the
But
entire
the lead script writers were pretty much the same. But yeah.
Yes.
All right. Kira launches 6 photon torpedoes, the station's entire complement, as a bluff to make Gul Jassard believe that Starfleet has replenished DS9's weaponry after taking over the station. The bluff fails, of course, and the Cardassians begin assaulting the station, easily penetrating its weak shields and causing an explosion on the promenade, which leaves many people injured. Odo calls for medical assistance from Dr. Bashir, who immediately leaves Ops to tend to the wounded.
What was he doing in Ops? I mean, the station was attacked. He should have been in sickbay at least. Waiting for.
Is there a sick bay? I don't know. I know nothing about
There's probably a sickbay.
the layout.
He's got a lab, so.
Oh, fair enough.
And he's a doctor, so I guess
Mhm.
that could be the sickbay. But it was just standing there doing nothing in Ops. I know that's where the action is, but
So why are you picking on Bashir then? Because Bones was always on the bridge. Crusher was very often on the bridge.
But Crusher was in sickbay as soon as there was some kind of trouble. And she was waiting for injured
Oh,
to be brought to sickbay.
yeah, I suppose.
And in this situation, I would have sent Bashir to sickbay just to be ready.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
But I'm not especially picking on him, but that's what when I was watching that tonight, I was wondering, what is he doing here?
Yeah, no, I withdraw the statement because you're absolutely right. He should have preempted it, or somebody should have preempted it.
Well, you could say it's Kira's fault for not sending him to sickbay, but
well, it would have been for 2 reasons. One, that she was in charge of the station in Cisco's absence, but also, didn't she run the station before he turned up?
yes.
So she should have known.
Yeah.
Mm.
And this poor promenade that has been fixed like hours prior to that.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't particularly fixed by the time the attack finished because there were bits of structure falling everywhere.
Yeah.
But I thought the special effects were really good actually in this attack scene. For the time.
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't look cheap. They looked like they actually put some budget into it, which may mean there's no budget left over.
It's the pilot.
Yeah,
so they have
to put the effort in.
Yeah.
And we also mentioned earlier on, we mentioned Scotty, and I have to mention him again because I felt that O'Brien was channeling Scotty when he said, bloody Cardassians, I just got the damn thing fixed.
Well, one is Scottish, one is Irish, but they're not that far.
Well, no, exactly. Their ancestry's connected, isn't it? So, apologies to any Scots and Irish people I've just offended by saying that. Dax reports,
Scots, but we don't know any. Do we know? Oh yeah. Do we know any Irish?
Yes, we know Irish. Gavin. Oh, Ken's Irish. Gavin's Irish.
Yeah.
Although neither of them live in Ireland. Whether I've missed a memo or something, but oh, and of course the Binary Times chaps.
Yes.
They're both Irish as well.
Yes.
So I would possibly say we know more Irish people than we do Scots.
Yes, but we know more Scots living in Scotland than Irish living in Ireland.
That this is true because
I don't think any of those Irish live in Ireland.
Because Peter, who is in our YouTube chat room at the moment, he is a Scots expat living in the USA. So, yes.
And he says, "No offense, Englishman."
Oh, ho, ho.
Oh,
I do take offense at that. Wow. Englishman. Good
I'm
grief.
Swiss. I'm neutral.
It's funny. I was talking to a fellow Scot the other day about this one, about how national identity works. When you think of someone being Scottish, referring to themselves as a Scot, you think national identity. You think pride in your nation. Same with Welsh. Same with Irish. But when you say I am English, that immediately suggests, nationalism, white supremacy, all of these things that aren't necessarily pleasant. The English Defence League and the BNP and all this other nasty stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm British.
Yes.
Well, I'm European as well. I'm European.
We're all citizens of the world anyway.
Well, exactly. It doesn't matter.
No.
Doesn't matter where you come from.
Which planet you come from.
No, not at all.
Except if you're
If
from
any-
the mirror universe. That kind of does matter. Except if you're Tilly.
I welcome all comers, whether it's mirror universe or the moon. It's absolutely fine. Just don't come at me with a gun or something, because that's not nice. Feel free to edit that one down. Dax reports that their shields are down to 18% and are rapidly falling. Kira, knowing another assault would likely destroy the station, is about to surrender when Dax suddenly reports a huge neutrino disturbance 15 kilometers off the docking ring. The wormhole is back.
Right on time.
Right on time.
Yoo-hoo.
It's as if it knew.
Yes. As if it was written like that.
Hmm.
We're back in business.
The wormhole opens in an explosion of brilliant neon-like light. No, it was like a camera flash.
Yes. Poof.
It
opens like it always opens.
Yeah, it just go, and it's there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although it's
Overplaying that one slowly.
It kind of swirls and opens, and there's a little bit of drama. It's not just it's not there and then boom, it's there.
No, there's a bit of build up to it.
Yeah.
The Cardassians, shocked to see it for the first time, immediately cease firing on DS9. To everyone's surprise, Commander Sisko emerges in the Rio Grande, towing Gul Dukat's disabled vessel from the work. I'm going to do that whole sentence again. It's like I forgot how to speak.
Welcome to the show, Peter. Every single episode. Takes 3 days to record. No wonder we're late editing it.
To everyone's surprise, Commando Sisko... Commando? To everyone's surprise... To everyone's surprise, Commander Sisko emerges in the Rio Grande, towing Gul Dukat's disabled vessel from the wormhole to safety. Once securely back in the Alpha Quadrant, Dukat orders the Cardassian vessels to stand down.
How nice of him.
Yeah, very grandiose gesture. Yes.
Your friendly Cardassian neighbor.
Yeah, absolutely. Sees the good in people.
Yeah.
What? Peter has just posted in our YouTube chat. Elgin, Scotland, where I was born and bred, is one of the 4 Scottish cities disputed to be the future birthplace of Scotty.
Oh.
The other 3 are living... Hang on. Linlithgow, I think that is. Edinburgh and Aberdeen.
Well, I vote for Elgin.
Yes. Yes, until someone from one of the other places comes in, and then we'll vote for that one as well.
Peter could be an ancestor to Scotty. Who knows?
Wow. Wouldn't that be?
The great grandfather or something.
Oh no! Hang on a second. I've just had a fantastic idea. So you know of like Ancestry.com,
Mm-hmm.
these websites where you can find out who your ancestral relatives
Yeah.
were. Well, you could have another service called FutureAncestry.com, where you can find out who your ancestors are going to be. Exactly. Fantastic. So it's no longer cool to be, I was a great grandson of the second cousin twice removed to King Harold.
Yes.
It's I'm going to be a great grandfather to, I don't know, Picard.
Scott. Yeah, Picard. Yeah. Well, I've never set foot in La Barre in France, but who knows?
Luckily, there were no fatalities.
There's one fatality here, I guess.
Luckily, there were no fatalities on DS9, just various injuries being treated by Dr. Bashir and Odo, who had been pressed into medical duties for the time being. Sisko, back aboard DS9, joyously greets Jake. The aliens living in the wormhole, whom the Bajorans believe to be the prophets, have granted Sisko and all other corporeal beings free passage through the wormhole. And, with the return of the Enterprise, the Cardassian vessels retreat back to Cardassian space.
Once again, just in time.
Well, when the Enterprise turns up,
yeah,
you leave. Yeah. You have outstayed your welcome.
Yes.
Unless you're part of the Federation, of course.
Of course.
Meeting once again with Captain Picard, this time in Commander Sisko's office, he is congratulated on finding the wormhole. Bajor will now undoubtedly become a commercial and scientific hub, as well as a strategic military focal point for the Federation. Sisko retracts his earlier conversation with Picard about possibly resigning his commission. Picard, who had not forwarded the information up the chain of command, nevertheless asks Sisko if he is sure about staying at the helm of DS9. Sisko assures him that he is. Picard shakes his hand and leaves for the Enterprise, wishing Sisko good luck.
So, the question now that I have to ask, do you think Picard did not send Sisko's resignation to Starfleet Command on purpose, or did he really didn't have time?
Knowing Picard as I do,
just call him Jean-Luc.
Knowing Jean-Luc, JL. Knowing Picard as I do, I would say he deliberately withheld it on the basis that the conversation was heated. It was very spur of the moment, and it was incredibly likely that Sisko would the word begins with regret. That's the word. That Sisko would regret his conversation and how he conducted himself with Picard in the first part of the pilot. So, no, I think he would have not sent it. He would have done it intentionally.
Yes, I agree with that. That's also what I thought. And I thought that Picard was playing with Sisko when he said, "Oh, I'm not sure I can do that. We have to be sure that we have a commander-in-chief, that is, that wants to be there." And I'm sure he already knew that Sisko wanted to stay, and he was just playing with him.
I don't think he was playing with him. I think it was, I suppose, another trap.
Yeah, Do you think?
Um,
No, yeah, I think no. I think it was really teasing Cisco.
mm, difficult to tell on that one.
Yeah, sure.
I'm willing to accept that he might have been yanking his chain a little bit, but I don't know. I didn't think that their relationship, their interaction was on that level.
Okay, yeah. I
Yet.
think Picard is a great negotiator and a great judge of characters. So
And a great
like
leader.
that.
So
Yeah, great leader.
he knows how to handle people.
Yep.
Kira warns Quark not to cheat his customers anymore, but allows him to keep his bar open. Once it's rebuilt, obviously.
Yeah. He's a community leader now.
He's a community leader, yes.
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 Yeah.
Now that was playing.
Yeah.
Calling Quark a community leader at this moment in time is definitely stretching the truth a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, it happens.
Mm-hmm.
We know this, but yes, he's definitely not a community leader. He is very capable of manipulating people.
Oh yeah. Oh yes.
As the repairs continue, Dax and O'Brien inform Cisco about the impending arrival of 3 Frenalian?
Yeah, that will do.
Let's go with that.
Yeah.
Dax and O'Brien inform Cisco about the impending arrival of 3 Frenalian science vessels and a related problem with the airlocks, as the station and its crew begin their new roles in galactic affairs.
Yes, I like this scene with everybody, happy and rebuilding the station and planning for the future, and it seemed like it was business as usual on a good day on Deep Space Nine.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's pilot syndrome, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
You have to your pilot has to be a self-contained storyline. You have to end it on a high.
Yes.
Because if you end it on a cliffhanger and they decide not to actually make a continuation of it, or they cancel it, then it's kind of a bit pointless.
Absolutely.
But that ending scene with everybody all happy, they're rebuilding their lives, and everything's going to be fine from this point onwards. Oh, except from next week. Yeah, it seems to be the thing, isn't it? It's a bit of a feel-good ending. It's a Star Trek thing, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I also like the interaction between Quark and Kira, which the review just ignored.
Yes.
It was so funny.
Yes. I can't remember the exact words she said, but it was something along the lines of, if you don't take your hand off my hip right now, I will. I can't remember what she said.
She said that if you don't remove your hand from my hip right now, you will never be able to raise a glass with it again.
That was it. that was a good line. Definitely a good line.
Yeah, and it's the kind of interaction between Kira and Quark that we're gonna have in the future. That those two they always get at each other.
But it's done in fun and friendship, rather than that's good. Yeah. I'm pleased about that, because that kind of oh, I've done it again. I've got a phrase in my head and I cannot.
Yeah, I know. It's every week for me. I got it in French in my head and then I can't translate it. Try to translate it in French. Maybe it's going to be better.
A friendly rivalry. That's the phrase I was looking for. It's a friendly rivalry between the two of them.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the end of the second part of the pilot
Emissary.
of Deep Space Nine. So what did you think of it?
I liked it. I liked the whole episode, but maybe the second part a little bit more than the first one. I like the whole story with the prophets, even though it's a little bit weird. It's a 1990 things, but the whole thing actually makes sense. The prophets not knowing about linear time and asking those questions, and on top of that, asking why Cisco lives here, and we don't understand exactly what they mean, and then, as you said, the oh moment in the end. I thought it was a great episode. It was, as you said, maybe not acted very well because, well, it's a pilot. They're just getting into their characters, and maybe some of them, I don't know what they did before that. So I don't know if Avery Brooks was playing something before that. But yeah, it's we can feel that there's 5 years passed after the pilot of Next Gen. There's a definitive increase in the quality of the special effects and the filming and all those technical aspects. I just can't wait to review the other episodes of this season and hopefully the rest of the series one day, because it's really one of my favorite series, with Picard and season 3 of Discovery. I probably like DS9 more than I like Next Gen, so I was very happy to watch that episode again, and I will be very happy to watch the others.
Oh, excellent. I have no frame of reference. I don't know that much about DS9. I don't think I've seen any of the episodes really, from from the entire series. So this is very much a voyage of discovery for me in learning more about
Deep Space Nine, a voyage of discovery. That's 3 series in one sentence. Well done.
Yeah, and I completely intended it. Yes, it's amazing how the English language works. But no, I love the episode. In its entirety, both episodes 1 and 2, I think were really good. I do have one observation, which I'm really going to go off on one, but I'll do that in a minute. The storyline was great. Like you, I really liked the whole scene with the prophets. I kind of liked the simplicity of the visions scenes, particularly the bit where we had just Cisco's face on screen, kind of a white blurry background, where you were just you're almost looking like inside his mind at that particular moment in time. So that was really good. The special effects in the attack scene on the space station was really good. I was really quite impressed with those. Acting, yeah, we've spoken about that. I'm not going to mention it again today. Yeah, well, again, they're a new crew. They're a new cast of characters working together. They may have worked together on other things as well, but as an ensemble, they are, very new in this. So it will improve. I know it will, because it happened with TNG. I'm certain it's going to happen with DS9. So as an introduction to DS9 as a series, I'm happy. Nothing really has disappointed so far. Mm-hmm. I'm sure that may change, but no, I'm pleased with that.
Yeah. So if I already said things that on last episode, I think, but if I compare this one to Encounter at Farpoint, Next Gen's pilot, I think this one is a lot better.
I can't dispute that, because that's your opinion. I can't agree with it, because I knew the TNG cast from other things, so it was like you're amongst familiar faces. So I was probably more forgiving of the little quirks that made up the Encounter at Farpoint as a whole. And I had seen Encounter at Farpoint before. In fact, I have it upstairs on a single DVD, the 2-parter.
Okay, yeah.
So I have seen it before. But this is brand new to me, so I don't really have an opinion on the cast. So for me, if I was to compare the two, I would say Encounter at Farpoint is a billion times better.
Okay.
But that's purely because I know the crew,
Mhm.
the cast.
Peter just said in the chat that he has watched DS9 3 times round, so that's a familiar cast for him now. I have to say, I have only watched the entire series once, but I'm currently watching the first season.
Yeah.
In between the episode of WandaVision.
Ah, yes. No, we've not looked at that yet. We might.
Yeah. If someone wants to do a review show of WandaVision, we will gladly host that podcast on the Other Side Podcast Network.
Cha-ching!
Hey, more information about that later on in the episode.
Indeed. Right, so my one overwhelming observation is I thought the pitch quality was abysmal. I was really, really disappointed by it. It was very apparent, and I would say it probably spoiled the experience of watching the episodes.
Okay.
Because the reproduction was so poor. Now, I don't know whether that was just Netflix or
Could be.
whether it was because of how they produced it originally. I think we had this conversation last week about whether DS9 was produced on videotape. We know that Voyager was, whereas the rest were done on film.
Was done on film.
Was film, yes.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're reproducing from film, you can reproduce at
HD, full HD.
At its natural fidelity.
Mm-hmm.
But when you record on video, and it would have been broadcast quality video for the time,
mm-hmm.
which would have been 480 lines, possibly for the US. It doesn't scale on video. It doesn't scale at all. So it looked really bad, and it was the most apparent, the most obvious to me was when the credits started at the end, and you had the executive producers, and the lettering was like all jagged and faded. Yeah, horrible, really bad.
And then there's the rolling credits, and that's even worse because of the compression and the artifacts and stuff like that.
Well, rolling credits on digital playback is poor anyway because of the frame rate.
Yes.
If you have a poor frame rate on it, you don't see scrolling credits. You see
jumping credits.
Yeah, on our catch-up services, we see exactly the same thing because obviously they probably halve the frame rate or do something to it in order so that it doesn't use as much bandwidth to save some money. But anyway, that aside, yeah, nothing to complain.
Cool.
It might not surprise you to learn I have some trivia.
No.
I do. I have loads and loads of trivia because with this being the pilot, the episode notes for Emissary on Memory Alpha were like 4 miles long. They were absolutely huge. I had to take out a lot of stuff. Some of it was mostly production decisions and reviews from notable people and stuff like that. So get rid of most of that stuff, and you're left with a few interesting pieces of information, which I would like to share with you now.
Please do.
Right. So this is the second of 3 Star Trek premieres in which Patrick Stewart delivers the first spoken lines. So the first one was TNG, obviously. This one, yes, that's right. This one was as Locutus.
Oh, yes.
In the Battle of Wolf 359. And obviously, the first episode of Picard.
Obviously, yes.
Mm.
Although, yes, that's Picard who spoke first, asking Data what cards he wanted or something like that. Yeah.
That's right. Yes, they were playing. Yeah, poker. Playing cards. That's right. This was also the only Star Trek appearance before Picard,
Mm-hmm.
where Patrick Stewart did not star alongside Jonathan Frakes.
Ah. Although we know that later on, Jonathan Frakes will be featured in an episode without Picard, without
There you go.
Stewart.
Without Patrick Stewart, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So the director of this feature-length episode was David Carson, who also ended up directing Generations.
Okay.
And it was his work on this episode that led him to get the director role for Generations.
He did a good job.
He did. DVD. Not going to mention that one. Yes, the Battle of Wolf 359, the scenes we saw at the beginning of the first part of this episode, were actually created for this episode. Because in the Best of Both Worlds, where the battle was depicted, you didn't see most of the battle.
Oh,
It was done off screen.
I didn't realize that.
Mm.
Nice.
Which I thought was interesting.
Mhm.
The Borg. It says here, this episode marks the only appearance of the Borg on Deep Space Nine. I don't remember the Borg in this episode.
No.
Well, if they said it
yes.
was, then
in the battle in the first scene.
Oh, of course, yes.
It's the giant cube.
Locutus.
Duh.
Sorry, I'll go back to school on that one, I think. This next piece of trivia is actually something you picked up on in our last recording. The presence of Jennifer and Jake Sisko aboard the Saratoga makes this the first occasion that a Miranda-class starship is known to carry families.
Ah, there we go.
It was only known to occur previously on Galaxy-class, which the Enterprise was. Runabouts. This is their first appearance in this episode. Sorry, they made their first appearance Runabouts in this episode. But Runabouts, they're just shuttlecraft, aren't they?
A little bit bigger, I think.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. When Sisko was having his visions in the orb, he was talking to Jennifer. He mentioned his father, saying that he was a gourmet chef. So spoke about him in the past tense. But Sisko's father appears in a later episode, and he wasn't dead or retired.
Well,
so
again,
why did Sisko refer to him in the past?
It's the pilot. Maybe they didn't have the whole Bible, as they call it, with the stories, backstories of every character and the relationship, families, and stuff like that. So maybe they didn't think about that. That they would need Sisko's dad later on.
No, that's fair. That's a fair response.
Or it was a big lie.
It could have just been slip of the tongue or a slip of the pen in writing the scene. And the last one, which I think was a really interesting piece of trivia, actually, right at the end of the episode when Odo was helping Bashir treat the wounded after the Cardassian attack, is apparently a nod to the film MASH.
Okay.
In 1970. Are you familiar with MASH?
I know of the movie, but I've never seen it.
Right, okay. So it was a TV series as well.
Oh, TV series.
But René Auberge, can I get this right? Aubergenois played Father John Mulcahy in MASH, where he was asked to assist in the operating theatre, even though he wasn't a medical person.
Okay.
So same situation.
All right.
And apparently
Nice.
they did that on purpose just to reference the old movie.
Excellent.
So that's it. That's all I have.
Wow.
I say that's all I have. That's a huge amount of trivia.
Almost
Don't expect that every time.
We spent almost more time on the trivia than on the review itself. Yeah,
That's probably true, actually,
not even
for
close.
the notes that were added.
Yeah. All right.
Cool. All right. So,
Interesting
if
stuff.
if you got anything else you want to mention?
Nope.
Okie dokie. Well, that concludes then our review of the full feature length pilot episode of Deep Space Nine, Emissary.
Biddy-biddy-ding. Ooh.
Sorry, that was quite kludged.
No, that was nice.
That scene.
That was good.
I know you'll edit it into its amazingness.
Yes. Published that in 2074.
I'm only up to Act 2 on There Is a Tide.
Cool.
I should be able to get that finished by the weekend, I hope.
Whenever it's ready, it's ready.
It is, but you haven't got much work to do on
Well, I'm going to try to edit
thingy.
here and there, but I don't have 4 tracks anyway, so...
No, you just have one.
Yes, I'm going to do the best I can, but I'm not going to...
I wouldn't waste time on it. You know, we've said that it's going to go out as it arrived, so... Unless there are bits where someone goes off to the toilet or something.
Yes. Exactly.
Okay, housekeeping. Thank you to all of you for listening to our show. You can help us spread the love for this podcast by asking a space station computer to transmit our web address on all subspace frequencies. But if the idea of having a little talk with the computer when it challenges your request is likely to send you down your own personal wormhole, you can simply share the address of our website on social media.
Yes. Our website is at teargreyhot.org, where you can find our show notes, our reviews, and leave a comment for every single episode.
And of course, you can also send us an email if that still exists in whichever time it is you listen to this. Feedback at teargreyhot.org is our address. We do love receiving your feedback, and if you don't want us to read, yeah, just leave that in. And we may well read your email out on the show, but if you don't want us to mention your name, please do let us know. Oh, fit it together somehow.
We are also on Twitter and Facebook. Our username for both of those is TEGH Podcast. We are also on Telegram at t.me/TEGH Podcast, which is the only place where you will get the link to our unlisted live stream. And once again, we would like to thank Peter for joining us tonight during this recording.
Definitely. Thank you very much. And thank you, as always, to Memory Alpha. We have based our review of this week's episode on their work, and that is released under a Creative Commons by attribution, non-commercial license.
The rest of the show is released under a Creative Commons by attribution share-alike license. See our website for details.
This podcast is a part of the Other Side Podcast Network. Check out more of our shows over at otherside.network. And as Yannick said, if anybody out there is interested in doing a review podcast of WandaVision or theoretically any other show at all, drop us a line and let us know.
Yeah, even the Orville. I mean, I don't care.
Yeah, well, I'm up for that. I will happily review the Orville with anybody. I think Caroline will be up for that one as well.
Our next episode will be our review of Star Trek Deep Space Nine Season 1, Episode 3, Past Prologue. And maybe we will have a guest, I don't know. And I know, Dave, you suggested a guest, maybe? You said you were going to suggest someone to me, but you didn't. So, I don't know. Maybe.
It may well have been the person that joined us for our live recording.
Oh, okay.
I'll leave that there.
Okay. Thank you. And that brings us to the end of this week's episode. Thank you, Dave, for joining me again in this endeavor.
Of course, yes. It feels like we've been away for ages, even though we've only it's been 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Needs to try and get back into the swing of things.
Absolutely.
But no, it's been great. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining me as well.
You're welcome. It's always a pleasure.
Good.
We will be
Yes.
back in 2 weeks with a whole lot more Star Trek. In the meantime, please take care of yourselves. Ciao, ciao.
See ya.
Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. And stop recording. 101 minutes. You have to stop
Don't
it
stop.
twice. Computer, stop. Computer, stop recording.
Yay, there we go. Oh, I don't know
Oh,
what's happening
my.
with this computer today. It's weird. Right,
Yeah.
go away. Right.
Apparently, you can rename your lady in the box and call her computer. So I don't know
Yes,
how I don't know how that would play in French, but
a l'ordinateur?
yeah, that doesn't
No,
do it. Doesn't.
it's not quite the same, is it?
Yeah, no.
Somebody else on the I might have mentioned this actually. Someone else on the Tech and Coffee group, George. He has his hockey puck set to respond to Samuel,
Okay.
and it's Samuel L. Jackson is the voice that responds
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, I know. It's,
with appropriate swear words. But yeah, it's quite funny when you hear him say, "Hey Samuel, what's the weather like?" And Samuel L. Jackson just completely goes off on one and then tells you what the weather is. It's really quite funny. It's a shame you can't do that with the Google Home,
yeah.
but I would imagine they may change that at some
Yeah,
point.
I don't know. I've de-Googleified my life now. I'm all on Amazon.
Yes, another Scotty reference. Hello, computer.
Hello. Yeah, but you need a mouse to do that.
You need a mouse to talk to it. Yeah, an old
Hello.
Mac classic.
Hello, computer. Yeah.
Hello, computer. A keyboard. How quaint.
Right.
Transparent aluminum.
Right. Thank you, Peter. That was great to have you with us.
Yes.
In
Thank
the
you.
chat room, in the YouTube chat. So we still know how to do this. Yeah.
Okay. This isn't a Earl Grey Hot as in us t-shirt.
No.
It's a off-the-shelf one that my lovely wife bought for me for my birthday.
Yeah. Well, the dog is not demanding anything, so that's
interesting.
That's because we're early.
We're a little bit early, yes.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to
That's
shock
good.
my wife by actually going and joining her for a short time.
Ooh, excellent. Well, thank you guys, both of you. Talk to you in about, I don't know, 8 hours on Telegram.
Indeed.
Cheers. Have a
Right.
good evening.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Ew. I'm still on YouTube.